This is Kyle Miller from iMerit, and we're here live at Geoweek 2022 at the Colorado Convention Center. And we're going to be going around seeing how machine learning and artificial intelligence is disrupting the geospatial technology industry, and learn a little bit about some of the latest sensors and data collection methods that we're seeing in the industry, and just see what we can learn. Let's go. So how do you see LiDAR sensors changing the state of the mapping industry moving forward?
Okay, so right now, we've had Velodyne and Ouster and Quantum and everything. What's really going to start happening is it's going to start opening up the surveying market, because right now most of the surveyors, actually they're my age, I'm like the average age of a surveyor, like 60. Okay, I'm not quite 60, but 59. But it's going to really start pushing ahead, because right now we still do boots on the ground surveying, and so LiDAR units really get us. We can't really get to the ground per se, through vegetation, but we get close, okay? And surveyors are going to start embracing that for doing topo work, because right now they'll send a man crew out there, 2 or 3 men, and they'll be out there for several days. We can do the job in 15 minutes. So it's going to really change that. We've been there for like 3 or 4 years, but we're on the early part of the bell-shaped curve. And now they're starting to finally embrace it. It takes a while, surveyors move slow, okay? But that's the big market for us. Of course, there's the autonomous vehicles and everything, but the surveyors actually feed that. And it's not really so much surveyors a lot of times for that as it is map makers, but surveyors are map makers, okay? But they've kind of regulated themselves into doing boundary surveys most of the time. So the ones who think a little bit bigger, kind of like the Lewis and Clark types, that are about mapping, they're looking at it as we're going to go map, okay? And we're going to map, and then who's going to benefit from that? FedEx is going to benefit from it. Uber Eats is going to benefit from it, because they're going to send robots out into the streets to deliver pizzas or whatever. And so is that part of surveying? Yes. And that's where it's going to really start hitting the fan, okay? Because we had to wait for that technology to come along and get mature enough. We can map it, but nobody was ingesting and using it. So now those guys are really going to put the impetus on surveyors, or people who aren't necessarily surveyors but are doing surveying, to generate that data, to get those markets going, and everybody's waiting for it, okay? So that's where I see it's going right now.
So how do you foresee LiDAR sensors transforming the geospatial technology sector in the coming years?
So the thing I love about LiDAR is we've got this active collecting, or this active sensor that can collect hundreds of thousands of measurements a second. And by incorporating it into lighter, cheaper, more affordable, more accessible platforms, it's something that an average user can go and collect extremely high quality data with. So it's no longer a paywall, if you will, for accessing, managing, and creating really high quality, high accuracy products. So a grad student, for example, can go out, spend a couple $1,000s on a drone, put an OK payload on it, just using open source software, open source hardware, and collect data on whatever they need, and incorporate that into any collaborations with any other department, spreading awareness of this technology, and really just making it something that more people can use in really limitless applications. And LiDAR's one of those systems, one of those technologies that's going to make all the difference in the world for that. We've had structured motion, we've had this RGB capability, but that's passive. Now we've got very, very, very high quality, very accurate, active scanners that can do all this. It's amazing.
What are some of your key takeaways from Geoweek 2022?
I would say that I'm seeing a lot of folks from LiDAR and remote sensing industry right now that are really trying to find a way to integrate all the different tools and platforms and services that they're using, and trying to really make it a single tool or a single streamlined workflow to really optimize, because everyone here is really trying to scale their LiDAR operations right now. They're trying to go from doing a single scan of a single building to be able to cover all their assets in large areas, and so they really need to find that optimized process from start to finish, and that includes annotating that LiDAR data, classifying it, making it usable, making it meaningful. And so there's a lot of, I think, space right now for people who can come in and who can provide a platform or a service that can really integrate all of that, despite all the different sensors and manufacturers having their own sort of data formats and things like that. So I think it's a pivotal time where it's, there needs to be someone to really come in and take over that space. And I've also noticed that I think the utilities and utilities and energy industry has really been leading the way on integrating AI into geospatial. They're really kind of the forerunners. They're the ones who are really investing in like getting that automation, getting that AI, and I think that's kind of leading the way for other, related industries, other sectors in geospatial, because they're seeing it work out with the utilities industries.
I've gone around now and spoken to, I don't know, I want to say tens, maybe even hundreds of people here at Geoweek 2022. And my takeaway is that, listen, data quality, whether we're talking about the artificial intelligence industry or the machine learning industry, or if we're talking about geospatial technology, mapping, surveying, construction, data quality is of paramount importance to all of these different iterations of geospatial technology and machine learning. Whether we're talking about the actual imagery data being collected from sensors like LiDAR, which we're seeing everywhere now for the collection of 3D point cloud data, or if we're talking about conventional RGB imagery from satellites or drones or whatever it might be. Data quality is extremely, extremely important. And that's something that I'm finding is true across the board. I'm hearing it again and again and again. All right, from Geoweek 2022 at the Colorado Convention Center, this is Kyle Miller from iMerit, signing off.